Hello and welcome to Blackwatch International. My name is Chriso and in this training video we'll be looking at land navigation. Land navigation skills are used in every operation by everyone involved. From identifying your current location to planning a route towards your next objective, it is crucial that you can understand your map and your navigational tools and their implementation. Blackwatch International utilizes the ACE3 mod. This mod also adds functionality pertaining to your navigation tools. This video is split up in 5 sections: basic controls, reading the map, using coordinates, identifying your location using landmarks, and finally route planning. For navigation we use 2 different compasses. The first we can use is basic and handy for quickly orienting yourself in the field. To open your standard compass, hold your compass button. This is a standard key K. This will hold the compass on your screen, allowing you to figure out your facing. Double tapping the button will keep your compass on screen and in front of you. On the outer edge of your compass we can see numbered markings. These numbers represent the bearing measured in degrees, which we can use to identify a direction with greater accuracy. There's also a second and more functional compass we can use with our map, but we'll cover this later. Additionally, if you're equipped with a GPS, you can view this by holding the right control key and pressing M. Alternatively, you can toggle it on or off on either the left or the right side of your screen by pressing the corresponding square bracket button. This will place a GPS on your screen, effectively giving you a minimap. Now to use the map. We'll start with a quick look at the controls. Pressing standard key M will open your map. If you're on a nighttime operation, your map might be too dark to read. In this case, you can use the personal torch. While looking at the map, press your ACE self-interaction keys. Usually your control key plus the Windows key. Select your flashlight and turn on your torch. This light will follow your cursor around for a clearer reading. As with the dagger, you can switch between topographical and satellite maps by clicking on the icon on the top right corner. Map symbols. It is essential to understand the common markings you find on your map. Here's a map of Linger Island, zoomed out to its fullest. The map offers us only a basic overview of the area. Several green islands with settlements and significant locations named. As we start to zoom in, much more details appear. These green patches indicate trees and foliage, and these smaller angular symbols indicate rocks. Let's look at these brown and red lines. They are contour lines, and they indicate the difference in elevation. Contour lines close together, like this one, indicate a steeper incline than this one when they're further apart. These numbers in black indicate that's point height above sea level in meters. Looking down this coast, we can see contour lines following it in some places and form steeper inclines, indicating that there's an uneven ridge that parallels the coast. These elevation markers show us that there are certain points which are higher, forming hills. In inhabited areas, buildings and structures are usually indicated by grey boxes. Certain infrastructure and key buildings have unique symbols in white boxes, such as petrol stations, ports, and radio towers. Map reading and coordinates. Let's use this map of Sorani to quickly review some important terminology. First off, these vertical grid lines are eastings. The horizontal lines are northings. These grid lines are numbered, usually at the bottom and left edges of your screen. We can derive coordinates using these. For example, the radio tower north of the city of Paraiso is here. Its coordinates are defined by the bottom left corner of the grid square it's in. In this case, the corner lies on these grid lines. We read the easting first, 10, followed by the northing, 09. So the coordinates of the tower are 1009. This 4-figure coordinate is accurate to 1 square kilometer, which is clearly a large area. In a lot of cases we'll need much more accurate coordinates, for example when relaying pinpoint enemy locations to friendly elements. When zoomed in, the map will offer smaller grid lines, this time with 3-figure grid lines. These squares are accurate up to 100 meters. The principle for deriving the coordinates of these squares is exactly the same, except you'll end up with a 6-figure grid reference instead of 4 figures. So, to be more accurate, the tower is at grid reference 104097. It's possible to use 8-figure grid references, accurate to 10 meters, which is particularly useful, for example, when calling in close air support. This can be done using the map tool. To determine the peak's location with 10 square meter accuracy, simply place the intersection of these measurements 0 and 0 directly on the peak. Then count the intervals back to the easting and northing of the map square, respectively. The distance back to the easting is 0.1, meaning we can add 1 at the end of easting coordinates. The easting coordinate becomes 1, 0, 4, 1. The distance down to the northing is 0.6, so we add 6. The northing coordinates are 0, 9, 7, 6. There we have it. It's also worth noting that you may on occasion see 10-figure grid references, which are accurate to 1 meter. Identifying your location. Now we know how to read map coordinates. Let's look at how you can find your location using the map. This is important as in some cases you will not carry a GPS system and may not have an icon displaying your team's position on the map, also known as Blue Force Tracker, meaning you'll be responsible for keeping track of your own yourself. If you become separated from your team or need to quickly identify your position, the best thing to do is look for unique features or buildings in the surrounding area. If you're lucky, you may have road signs nearby, because these can tell you exactly where you are. If there are no signs nearby, look for roads, tall structures, a tree line in an otherwise arid location, boulders, power lines, and so on. In the following situation, I've become separated from the rest of my convoy that was traveling from our FOB to Waypoint Tango. I can see that I'm in a valley, but this also obscures my view of the surrounding area. By finding some elevation and a clearer view, I can help myself identify this location. Now I can see a town, and if I use my compass I can find its bearing from my location. If I look at the map again, I can see that the road I should be on only turns north toward a town here. Since I know that I'm in the mouth of a valley and the town is to my north, I can estimate that I'm roughly here. If time permits, it's a good idea to double check that I'm correct by using a second landmark to confirm my location. There is a peak marked on the map here, and if I'm right about my location, it ought to be to my west-northwest. Perfect! Now I can use the bearing of a landmark to perfect my location. The compass tells us that this peak is roughly at bearing 283. Opening my map and using my map tools will give me a compass with a base plate. Holding Alt and dragging with the cursor allows me to rotate the base plate. By rotating this red arrow, known as the direction of travel arrow, and aligning it to 283 degrees, placing the peak on the ruled edge of the base plate, I can follow this ruled edge backwards to my location. Since I know I'm east of this road, but west of the crest of this bridge, I must be approximately here. I can measure my distance from the peak by using the ruled edge. Each numbered interval is a kilometer, so I can see that I'm this far from the peak. If I'm equipped with a Vector 21 rangefinder, this tool can do a lot of the work for me. Depending on my army, the Vector 21 may be distributed to the fireteam leaders and other leading roles, as well as some specialist roles like the JTAC. The Vector replaces the binoculars and is used with the same key. To find the distance to a specific location, aim the center of the Vector on it and hold the range key, default R, until a red circle appears and then release. A number will appear in red, which indicates your distance to the target in meters. Route planning. Lastly, we can use these skills to plan a basic route towards an objective or waypoint, even when we don't have any GPS tools. These soldiers need to plan movement from their position at Kilo 1 in Bor to a suspected enemy cache located in the large building to the southeast of Kozlovka. As we can see, it is possible to follow the road network and eventually reach their objective. However, it is more prudent to save time and plan for a more direct route. Since they're on foot, it would be possible to walk in a direct line towards their objective. However, the close proximity of these contour lines to one another show us that the soldiers will be taking a very steep route up a mountain and therefore may not save time at all. Instead, they could deviate slightly by first heading towards the east, walking around the mountain rather than over it. Moving this far eastwards, they would then be well situated to move more directly towards their target. It's a good idea to establish waypoints on the route, to allow you to verify your location before changing direction. Soldier has added waypoint 1 to his map. When he reaches it, he should see some buildings downhill to his northeast, letting him know that it's time to orient northeast. If you're operating in an area that lacks any identifiable landmarks, waypoints are a great idea of helping you keep track without getting lost. As a rough rule, keep distances between waypoints no longer than 1.5 kilometers, to reduce the chance of getting lost between them. You may want to adjust the distance between waypoints depending on the sort of terrain you're dealing with. Now the soldier can draft the second leg of their route, from waypoint 1 to the cache location. With the route planned out, these soldiers now just need to establish what direction they need to start moving in. The small map tool can be used as previously demonstrated to derive a rough bearing for these soldiers to use. So they need to move east-southeast, roughly at a bearing of 100. Using this ruled edge, we can see that the distance between K1 and waypoint 1 is roughly 750 meters, and since they're not walking in a direct line towards it, they're looking at a walk more likely to be between 800 and 900 meters distance. Lastly, the soldiers can see that there's a road to the south along the route. This concludes our lesson on route planning. You should now have a good starting grasp of how to use your map and navigational tools. These skills will not only stop you from getting lost, but also help you identify and relay enemy positions to friendly units and save lives. Thank you for watching this video on land navigation. If this video was useful, be sure to give it a like, subscribe for more Arma 3 content, and check out our website for more information on Blackwatch International.